I'm trying to get somebody else on.
Good evening, fellas.
What's that?
So good evening.
Just take it away. Tell us where you are, Derek.
I'm in Hawaii right now.
Well,
We just got here a little bit ago.
Well,
I'm trying to find you now.
specifically where? I mean, Hawaii's got 25 islands or some nonsense.
Oh no, we're right outside of Honolulu currently.
Oh, the big apparently you, you
Apparently,
gotta pay yeah, you gotta pay closer attention.
to where you're
Well,
going.
we just landed and then we drove here, so you know we can go very far. I don't know. I ain't been here too long.
Are you gonna go fishing?
Hopefully that's the plan. And
You might
then the lady wants to swim with sharks, so we might do that too.
swim with
You
sharks.
Yeah, like in the cage.
Yeah, I seen that one
oh,
where the shark got in the cage with the person.
Yeah, I
I
seen
just
that
seen it.
too. That'd be wild, wouldn't
I was just thinking you didn't point out that she's living with a shark every day. There's no sense in swimming.
it?
A piranha. All right.
It's nice weather. I thought it was like jungly here, and then I got here. It's really nice. I didn't know.
Africa, Hawaii. I sure got some friends in low places. Wayne. I guess we can talk. So, real quick, I don't think I talked about it. Did it happen after last Wednesday? Madison stuff.
What? Yes, I think
Yeah,
so. I don't
yeah, I believe it was Thursday.
So Madison came over. We got all of her stuff. She goes back home. Someone breaks into the truck and steals her backpack that's full of all the stuff. Luckily, she don't have the other present yet because Dustin's still somewhere between Africa and here, or maybe still in Africa. He might have just stayed there. Who knows? So
He
we're
may
waiting
not come back.
on. So we still got more stuff to send Madison. So I'm glad we didn't send it all at once, or she'd be missing a lot of stuff. She's already missing a lot of
That's,
stuff. She
that's
had her
the
boots in
deal.
her closet. She had her Danner boots in her closet, so those did not get stolen. So Wayne said that they have a license plate or know who the guy is, or I don't know.
Madison told me that the cops knew who he was. They're they looked at surveillance cameras for the parking lot and they said they know who he is and they're looking for him. Other than that, I don't have a clue.
Matter
Hopefully they get him, get her stuff back.
matter of fact, I did buy it with the credit card, Mr. Anderson. Tell me what it is, Anderson. Tell me the secret. I know Wayne was going to try to do insurance with his vehicle, and if you have a receipt, you can do that. Did you buy it? So, other than that, what are you in? You're in Hawaii for right now? Too bad it ain't hunting
Um,
hogs, goats, or
no, no. The niece is graduating, so we're down here for that. And yeah, the old lady's sister lives here, so we come for the graduation and the visiting.
I told Derek he's a better family member than me because if I'm in Sholo and the graduation Lakeside, I won't go to either of them. I only live 8 miles away, so call your credit card company and look at your agreement.
So I can't believe that you've gone to Hawaii and you do not have already a fishing trip scheduled. You
Well,
do
we're
not
we're
have. Go ahead.
we're
Go ahead.
work, we're working on it. We're waiting on some other family members to show up and kind of iron out details and stuff.
Don't ever wait
Well,
on
Um,
anybody.
no, no. You throw that out there. You say, "This is the itinerary. If you want to get on board." Did you see how Cody got to go to Africa? Here's the itinerary. Make it or don't.
And then not
And
go
fair
and
enough.
give it to someone else.
yeah, exactly. So then
I have
you got to have some. They have those wild hogs. They got feral hogs. They got
oh
uh they got those goats. Where
Yep.
which island are the goats on?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
So
know
I
much
watched.
about it.
You know what's crazy about them goats? I was watching a meat eater, and what's that stuff called? I know you know what it is, Derek. Plasmosis, plasia, whatever, where they eat the
Oh,
cat crap,
yeah,
and it makes them not afraid of cats, so they don't run.
yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. Meat
That's
eater.
You know
wild.
what?
That's
If
interesting.
I if I ate cat crap, I'd probably not run either because I'd be doing donuts right there in my living room.
That is wild. That is a really interesting thing that happened like that to weird weird
You know.
adaptation that yeah.
So I got Michael Craven right now waiting. We're gonna bring him on. So he's gonna talk about what we never talk about. Here, let me get him on here.
We talk about
Michael.
everything.
Awesome.
No. We don't talk about the land grabs. We never really talk about the land grabs. And right now there's a big issue. I don't know a lot about it. I just get all the emails and I forward them and I send the letters and that's about it. But Michael's gonna tell us, and you just tell us who you are and who you're with and take it away. You're smarter than I am.
Well, I won't agree with all that, Chris, but thanks. So I'm doing this on my phone. I expected to do it on my computer. I got about 20% battery, which ought to do, but
Yeah.
if it gets close and I have to ditch out, I'll try to give you a heads up. So my name is Michael Cravens. I met a couple of you fellows in the past, and I'm the advocacy and conservation director for the Arizona Wildlife Federation. I also serve as the vice chair for Arizona Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. And what I've been working on mostly, what's been eating up most of my time. What's that? Did I miss something? No, right, just background noise. Is land grabs. So I'll start here. You fellas that are from Arizona, you might take it for granted. I don't know. I'm from Missouri, right? And where I'm from, everything is private. When I was a child, I could hop fences as a kid. I went wherever I wanted, right? It was a free and feral childhood. But as I got older, I just asked permission to hunt and fish. And most time I got it. These days, everything in the East is locked up in leases. So you kind of have to play to pay, so to speak. Then I moved out here, 13, 14 years ago. And I was immediately just blown away. All of this land, 43% of Arizona, where we can go hunt, fish, run our hounds, do whatever we want to do, as long as we're not tearing it up. And these lands belong to all of us. Now, that I never lose sight of that, right? In fact, I bought an overpriced home out here in Parks, west of Flagstaff, about 15 miles, just to be close to all this. And anytime I'm driving around the house, I got all this diversity of habitats to explore. It's never lost on me, right? I appreciate it every day. So, we'll give just a quick overview of what public lands are. So in this realm, we have private lands, which is obvious. They belong to private individuals. Then we have state lands. State lands, while we sometimes do have access to them as sporting folks, they are de facto private land. They don't belong to us. They belong to the state. And state lands are great. I'm not knocking state lands, but they are mandated to be profited off of. And if that means selling them is the best way to get money out of them, that's what they do. They sell them, right? Or they lease them or whatever. But they belong to the state. It's a good thing. It funds our public education system, which is fantastic for our country. But they're private lands. They're not ours. Then there are the Bureau of Land Management lands, BLM. There's the Forest Service lands. There's national parks, there's national wildlife refuges, there's national monuments. All of those lands belong to us as Americans. We own those. It has been said that that these lands are the last bit of wealth the average working class American owns. And there is more wealth locked up in these lands than just about anything else in the world. So when you have that, there are a lot of people that want to get at that wealth, right? They want it for themselves. Now, us average Joes, that's out of reach for us, right? We use these lands to hunt on, fish on, harvest timber, raise our cattle, on and on. But there are people that want to see them privatized. These folks, they're typical, DC politicians with wealthy constituents and donors that are pushing them in these directions. But there's a group out of Utah, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, kind of lead the charge on these land grabs. And they've been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Seems like about every 10 years, a new idea or a new way to try to privatize these lands pops up. And when this happens, typically the sporting groups, they rise up and they stomp these guys down. Well, things are different now, right? We have a new administration that's shaking things up, and a lot of folks are taking advantage of that to really push their agenda. So now we've got this reconciliation bill, right? This big, beautiful bill we've all heard about, the administration's pushing. Well, there's some good stuff in there. There's some really not so good stuff in there. One of the bad things that has been, an amendment has been introduced is selling off. At first it said 11,000 acres. That quickly became around 500,000, between 500,000 and 600,000. And I got that straight from the author's mouth. And then, as I'm sure you guys have seen, you should have seen today, if you follow social media at all, Onyx, the mapping app that almost every hunter and angler uses, they did their own deep dive and looked at all of the properties being proposed and measured it all out. Turns out it's 1.5 million acres of our land that belongs to you and me and our kids and their kids into the future. So the problem with this is, hold on. The problem with this is, there are parcels of public land that are, say, vacant lots in urban settings or urban adjacent pieces of land. And these places, I think any reasonable person would argue, are probably appropriate for transfer, into the private sector. They're not doing any good for wildlife. They're not doing any good for outdoor recreation. They're not doing any good for cattle, on and on and on. There are processes in place to do this. In fact, it happens all the time. One of the acronyms is FLIPMA. But, these are arduous, they're complicated, and they take a while. But that process is in place to protect the lands that you and I own and keep for rich assholes from doing this, right? So they are circumventing this process that allows for public input, right? It allows us to be part of the process of transferring our lands to private sector. Now, normally when that also happens, that money that is made is put back in to our public land trust, right? The money goes back into it. We can use it to improve habitat, do projects, whatever. In this case, that money would be going straight into the treasury. So Nevada doesn't see it, Utah doesn't see it, our public lands don't see it. It goes in the treasury where it doesn't do anything to help our deficit. It's a drop in the bucket, right? So, this has been happening, right? And we've been fighting about it. I've been working on it since back in March. Finally, the sporting community just jumped on board this week, and I've been so happy to see that. But it's happening, right? And it's happening fast, and it's happening furious. So the issue here is, if they were to succeed, right? Right now it's going through the House. If it goes through the House and they pass it, and then it gets to the Senate and they pass it there, then this has been a new precedent set. So while this is 1.5 million acres in Utah and Nevada, believe me when I tell you, there are a lot of people in Arizona, a lot of our legislators that want to see this in Arizona too. In fact, one Mr. Mark Fincham, Representative Mark Fincham, he introduced a bill this year. It's called to create a Department of Natural Resources. But really, what this department was being proposed for was to handle all of our land they expect to get from the federal government. Okay. Fortunately, this did not pass. It's still floating around out there, but it's almost 100% sure it's not going to pass, right? And if it did, our governor would probably veto it. So there's people in Arizona that want to do this. If this were to succeed in Utah and Nevada, you can be damn sure that we will be having the same fight in Arizona and throughout the West, probably for the rest of our lives. Because now all of a sudden, they know they can do it. So the importance of squashing this effort is absolutely mandatory. And again, hunting community has gotten on board these last few days, which has been great to see. I wish they would have started earlier. And I do have tentative good news to report on this. Just an hour ago, Ryan Zinke. So, all right, I'll start here. So it's a Republican bill, right? Not everything from the Republicans is good, right? Just like not everything from the Democrats is bad or good. But most of the Democrats were voting against this already. We had 7 Republicans who have stuck their necks out and went to the Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson, and asked him to remove this amendment that sells our public lands from the reconciliation package. Then I heard through the grapevine that Speaker Johnson said if he hears from enough Republicans, he will remove it. So I've been pushing really hard on folks to get a hold of our representatives that I think are turnable. Representative Siscomani is one, Representative Crane is another. I heard about an hour ago, Representative Zinke from Montana, he led this charge, right? Him and Representative Sheehy from Montana. The reason those Republicans from Montana, can do that is because they have their entire constituency of Montanans supporting them. Montanans love their public lands. You know, there's no line between a dirtbag skier and a hound hunter. Everybody does it all up there. So they all, they all support, right? So their senator or their representatives, they have no problem saying they support public lands because that's what their constituency wants. Here in Arizona, we're a bit more divided, right? We have the good old boy hound hunters over here, and then we have the bird watchers and hikers and stuff over here. That's not cool. That's what I work on every day, is trying to bring these groups together, right? Because we all want healthy wildlife populations. We all want access to it, right? So we all need to work together on this stuff, despite our differences, which is not easy, I realize. But anyway, in Montana, they do that. We need to do that here too. So getting to the point, I did get news that Zinke has said he expects this amendment to be pulled. All the debate should be settled on this bill in the House within the next day or two, and it should go to a vote. I'm not gonna get too complacent and think we've won this until I see it for sure, right? Because right now it's just things I'm hearing. But I will say the sporting community has come out and forced these last couple days, and those representatives, they've heard it. So that we might have this bit won. Okay, this is just one little battle, though. This is probably the most important battle that we've fought in the history of public land defense in our nation. Is this one right here? In fact, I would say that matter of factly. But now I can tell you now, though, that like Utah filed a case with the Supreme Court months back, asking all of the BLM, I forget, a very large number of their BLM lands to be given to the state. The Supreme Court refused to hear that case. Well, we fully expect them to submit that case into lower courts and start working that process up, right? They're not going to give up on this. So I think this is just opinion, but I think they've been waiting to see what happened with this reconciliation bill before they resubmit that court case. So you can be damn sure that they're going to resubmit that court case. So that's not even a question at this point. And I think now we're going to see that happen pretty soon. So, that's what we've been, I guess in a nutshell, what I started with, this is what we have, right? And then I talked about the current battle we're facing. And then, of course, I gave just one example of what we can expect in the future. So, hound hunters, You guys would be screwed more than anybody if they started chopping up our public lands, right? Because you need, well, one, cats have, especially males, have real wide home ranges. Your hounds have to be able to run long ways, so you stand a lot to lose if these people get a footing. And there's no good side of this, right? These are rich assholes, like ultra wealthy rich assholes that are doing this to the American people. So I guess my takeaway message in this case, it's not too late. Call your Congress people. This is not done, right? They say we can expect it to be pulled. We don't know that. I would say call your Congress people. Tell them, hey, I value public lands. I hunt on these public lands, and I don't want them to be included in this reconciliation bill. That's that simple.
And what are they? You said they're doing this big land grab and stuff. I mean, are they building houses on it? Are they using it for mining? We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but what can it be used for in the end?
Anything, honestly. Yeah, mining. It could be sold to foreign mining interests. They are using the affordable housing excuse a lot. Let me tell you, it is disingenuous bullshit. And I could go on for an hour about why and provide evidence. But ultimately, these are the same guys that have been working on this shit for 20 years now. And sorry if I'm blinding you guys with that light back there.
We're good.
They grabbed a hold of this affordable housing thing, right? Because to appeal to the Democrats and appeal to the more bleeding hearts of it, because nobody's going to vote against affordable housing. It's something we need as a country, right? But it's not because we don't have enough land to build houses on. It's because now every other house is an Airbnb, our second home, and the prices of homes are ridiculous. So there's no such thing as using public lands to build affordable housing. It's quite honestly just a sideways, disingenuous scheme to get this thing passed.
They
Right
can add
now-
it to the public tax rolls by making it private. They can add it to the tax rolls, and that's what every form of government's looking for.
Yeah,
Money.
That's another reason behind it.
I don't think people understand. And I just found this out today, not even an hour ago. I have a lady who said, here, she's a good friend of mine. She says, I want to give you this land in Texas because you're a good friend. And it's a 20 acres, whatever. And so I looked it up and I called Cody and I said, hey, there's this land. Is it worth anything here? And he says, man, that's a pretty desolate area. People buy that and they sell it because they don't want to live there or whatever. I said, well, so in Arizona and Texas, you look at the map, it's all private, 5 acres, whatever. In Arizona, we can hunt that private land if it ain't fenced off. And even if it's fenced off, unless it's, I believe, a 6-foot fence, if it's just a barbed wire fence and it's not posted no trespassing or no hunting, we can still hunt that.
Yeah.
In Texas, you can't. And I didn't know that. And that's weird to me because, I mean, I've even, as a kid, had a sheriff say, you can ride your quad straight across there if there's no fence or no trespassing signs. But in Texas, it's not that way. And then I'm looking right next to it, and it's this big park. It's the Big Bend National Park, and you can't hunt none of that,
No.
And there's a lady that owns 18,000 acres right next to this property, and another person owns 23,000 acres kind of in the park. But Arizona, I think we're spoiled. I don't think people realize if you've grown up in Arizona and you've hunted Arizona your whole life, we kind of give our, that's my area, it's my land, when you're in an area and you don't want no one in it. I'm just as bad about it, but I don't think we understand the privilege we have. I mean, it's technically a right, but it's a privilege because right now they're trying to take that right away. And I believe in Oregon, Missy, these logging, they buy up all this land and then they can shut it down. They've shut it down, those public lands or whatever. So, but even the forestry, we get mad when they shut down the forestry. Even when there's a fire, they literally opened up Greer. We have a fire going on. And because maybe they don't want to upset people, they're letting people in like next to the fire. And that's crazy, but that's kind of our right because it is public land and we do own it. You know, we like to believe we own it, but the government comes in and they just take out of millions of acres. They take these little. Wasn't it 600,000 acres in the beginning? Wasn't it like kind of a little chunk?
11,000 acres is what was first reported.
And now it's up to 1.2 million or something.
1.5 million. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you give the government $1, they tax you on the dollar, another $1.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing with the land. And once that, like you said, once it's just like Colorado. If they would have took line hunt in Colorado, they would have had a big old head, and they would have came to Arizona and tried to do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, like you said, that's what they're going to do. They're going to come to Arizona, New Mexico, everywhere else, and do this little land grab. And it don't seem like a lot, right? Little spots here and there, but man, the marble bag fills up.
And they took 1.5 million acres. Every hunter in this state will be losing a spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether that's quail spots around the Phoenix Valley or whatever. Everybody.
But it's not just hunters.
They're losing. Yeah, no,
this is bird watchers. This is OHV drivers. Yep. You know, these are people who just go run their little
Second Amendment folks. Second Amendment people, right? Where did you guys learn how to shoot guns? I bet you it was on BLM land. Because that's where everybody goes to learn to shoot
Unless you're from California, then it's downtown LA, I think.
There you go. You know, that's funny because I mentioned Mark Fincham, right? He's public land enemy #1 here in Arizona. He likes to talk about how great Michigan is, right? Because he's always like rallying against these lands. Well, here in Arizona, we love to hate on California, right? Don't California our Arizona. So what the hell is this guy coming in here trying to turn Michigan our Arizona, right? Privatize it and chop it all up. I haven't got to use that zinger on him yet, but I hope to someday. And I really wanted to show you guys my new hound, but I think my boys got her outside.
Oh, you didn't get one, did you?
I got a dash hound.
That's close enough. You go after rabbits.
That's exactly what she's a high end. She's a high end. Solid pedigree hunting dash hound, wire haired dash hound. And man, she has got drive like you would not believe. But we got her to hunt with a hawk, so my boy could hunt her with the hawk because rabbits in northern Arizona, right? So we can use all the help we can get. But she's hilarious.
Man, I tell you what, you come up here right now. I've been out elk hunting, and I have jackrabbit. I don't know if it's everywhere, but in my area right now, I'm seeing 5-6 jackrabbits at a time.
That's good, man. That means we're bouncing back from that hemorrhagic disease. They're doing good down in the valley too. Last year up here they weren't good, so I hope because we're in northern Arizona, we're about a year behind, Phoenix. So I'm hoping this year's better.
Yeah. So what do we got to do?
Are you flying a red tail, Michael?
Yeah. Well, I flew a red tail all last year. She did great. We flew on squirrels primarily. I killed over a dozen squirrels. And she did so good. Well, I'm new to this, right? Just learning it all. One, I wanted to keep her because I wanted to go through the intermewing experience, which means I'm keeping her and not hunting her throughout the summer while she molts. So I'm excited to see that red tail come in too. I wanted to see that, but she was a great bird. So my boy who turned 12 last December went and took his falconry test on his 12th birthday and passed it. So right now we're outside trying to build his mews or add on to ours, right? So as soon as that's done, he's going to get his apprentice license. I'm going to transfer because we don't own these birds, right? But they're in our care and we have to enter them into I can keep her the rest of her life, but she's still wildlife, right? She still belongs to the people. So I enter her into a database that says I have her under my care. And then I'm going to go in there and transfer her to my son as soon as he gets his apprentice license. And then I'm going to go catch a goshawk. Hopefully, I'll start looking for nests after June 1st and hopefully catch a branch or a juvenile that's just leaving the nest and try that, which is probably going to be a bit more challenging, but I'm excited for it.
Here we go. We're going to rabbit hole. So when you catch these young ones, how long does it take for you to acclimate them to you? I heard the goshawks are the hardest, right? Or no?
They're
or the parents. This guy over here is one of them falconers too.
So I think it's really falconer specific. Some guys say red tail's the easiest bird in the world. I'm telling you, I'm the fastest guy in the world to take a red tail and turn it into a face grabbing mean thing. But
Yeah, I've heard a lot of them in Arizona are like that.
accipiters I like. They're high action, high speed, they're just axe murderers. So goshawks, Cooper hawks. I think a Cooper hawk is probably the easiest bird to run. You know, like they can't hardly make mistakes with a coop. They don't forgive you whatsoever at all. Of course, Harris hawks, bar none, it's like a dog. They're so easy to chill with, and the timeline really varies bird to bird, and the way you do it. You know, there's different techniques you can use as far as stuff goes. Yeah, doing it the old way, inside, outside. Strobe lights, etc. Which, are you familiar with strobing, Michael?
Man, I haven't got into it yet. My plan as of right now is to do it the same as I did my red tail, put her on the leash to a perch in the middle of the living room with the dogs, the kids, the TV, everything, and just go through that.
What is the strobing first for us dummies?
Yeah. So
one of them.
Strobing it's a technique for training the accipiters. So you take the bird into a totally dark room, no light whatsoever at all, and you keep it in there for like the first while. You go in there with a strobe light blinking real slow, because when the birds of prey are 80% ocular intake, so their vision is 85+% of what their brain computes. So if you can put a hood on them or turn all the lights off, it like resets them. So you can take all the anxiety and all the fear away. Yeah. So with that slow blinking strobe light, you can hand feed them, get them sitting on your glove, all that stuff, and they're like the fear shuts off and resets every second, and slowly you can get a little bit faster.
It's imprinting for a bird.
Yeah. Guys, they're not dogs. They're friggin' weird dinosaurs. They're not parrots either. I mean, they hate you, but they work with you and tolerate you. It's been, the whole damn thing has been a weird learning curve for me because I didn't expect any of it. They're freaking dinosaurs. And they don't think like us or dogs or anything else. But it's ridiculously hard. But man, when it comes together and that hawk comes down out of the trees with a squirrel and they're fighting in midair, it's more exciting than shooting 50 squirrels with a 22. I've stacked up enough squirrels and rabbits in my life easily that this is, and honestly, man, it's the best quality meat I've ever had, because they're not like those talons aren't going through, right? They're just holding on to them. When they hit the ground, I go in with a glove and snuff them out with a gloved hand. And the meat is perfect, just perfect. So I've got all my squirrels and one jackrabbit I caught last year saved up, and I'm gonna have a big old falcon caught feast here soon.
There you go.
That's pretty cool. I've always wanted to get into it, and I had a guy who was into it, and I didn't realize how, I don't know how, I shouldn't even bring this up. I'll probably start some fights, but could you imagine if you had to have a internship for hounds? How many people that probably?
Oh shit! Hey, it might not be a bad idea though. I mean, some of those not so great hound hunters out there that cause problems for the others, that might bring them in a line.
But unfortunately, I think that especially out west, you just wouldn't be able to get your license. You
couldn't find somebody to hunt with you.
Yeah, you get one new license holder every 2 years, and in 15 years there wouldn't be any more houndsmen left. By the time the old hands die, there wouldn't be anybody else. There'd be one guy. About like trying to buy dogs out here.
I got 7% battery left, so it's gonna die within a couple minutes here. So I want to say thanks first off for letting me.
Where do we go?
Talk to you.
How do we make some calls?
Yes, call your congresspeople. Google either your congressperson or your district. If you don't know what that is, simply, and I'm sorry I don't have this with me, right? Simply Google White House switchboard, and you will get a phone number, and you'll call that phone number. And that phone number will ask you your address, and then it'll tell you who your congresspeople are and give you their information. Then you just call them and simply say, hey, I live in Arizona. I value public lands. I'm a hunter. I do not want public lands sold in this reconciliation bill. That's it. It's that simple.
And that's the letter you sent out, or that went out. There's a letter that just went out.
Yeah, it was a little bit more complicated and wordy than that, right? But yeah, that was pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, I shared that on my Facebook. So
Awesome. Great.
and it's not too late to send the letter.
Hell no. Right now is very important.
Because they're just barely in the first part of this, right? To where they still have.
Yeah, we need to be turning the volume up right now until we're confirmed and we know that this amendment has been pulled out of the reconciliation package. Then we sit back, we have a drink, we breathe a little bit, and we get ready for the next one. But you got to be engaged in this stuff, man. If you're not, they'll take it away.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Sure.
Jumping on here.
Hey, also, I want to go lion hunting still. I'm not joking about that. I've told you that every time I see you guys, I tell you that. And I want to go.
We only got a couple weeks right now.
Yeah, I figured things are winding down now, but next year.
But August. We'll get you up here in August, October when it cools down.
Sure.
Get you a bear, get you a lion.
That'd be awesome. I still got I got that spot out in 8 there's a lot of lions. I'd love to take one of you guys up there. And then out here by me, I found tracks in the snow this year, so I'll keep an eye out for a big tom. Eventually find one, and you guys will be the first ones I call.
I got a guy right by you. Oh
yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be on the night, but he yesterday he said, I don't know if I'm gonna make it tomorrow, and he sent me a picture of a lion kill.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and he says, why don't you not worry about your podcast or your live and just come up here? And I'm like, oh man.
Right. So do you record these and publish them anywhere?
If you go on Spotify or anything, but it's always on YouTube. If you just go to Anecdote of a Houndsman, go to the lives. These are on YouTube, and then I cut them up and edit them, take out all when Derek cusses a lot or whatever, and then and then I put them on Spotify or most anything, but Spotify, RSS.com, or your Apple podcast. Just type in free casting.
Great. Well, hey, I'm going to plug mine too. I have the Arizona Wildlife Federation podcast. I have done a hound hunting podcast there. So yeah, I mean, you're not going to be interested in all of them, right? Because they're all over the place. The Arizona Wildlife Federation's not just representing hunters; we're representing everybody that plays outside. But it's there.
Just listen to one of these shows. We don't talk. Just one episode. Yeah, we're all over the place, man.
Right on. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing it. Yeah, the hound hunting community. It's a huge and interesting and just rich community of folks, right? And some of them do things a little too rough, I think, for the general public, but man, it's cool, and I think it needs to be out there in the public eye in a positive way, and it'll only do good things for you guys.
We're working on it.
Yes, sir.
That's why I got your phone number.
All this. There's a lot of areas of conservation to work in, whether that be education or boots on the ground projects or, improving habitat. That's all fun stuff. The stuff I do is not fun. The policy, the advocacy, it's really uncomfortable. But you guys, I've seen you guys. You guys have been there, right? You guys do it. You guys go.
Oh yeah.
It sucks,
I mean,
right?
we dread talking about it here. It's like, what are we going to talk about tonight? And we have to put a little politics in and let people know what's going on.
Right.
But we are like, we did it so much before April 11th. And we try to take a break, but then we get like Nevada thing comes up or a California thing comes up.
It's important. You got to be engaged, man.
You do.
I don't enjoy it, but I value the work because I know how important it is. And I'm happy to come and talk to you guys about any of the unfun stuff that I do.
I got a few hours. I will see y'all later. Sorry, I got a boogie. We got things to get to.
All right. Have fun in Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Michael, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. The information.
Appreciate the opportunity.
I couldn't explain it no better. So
I have one quick question for Michael.
Yeah.
Is the BLM or the U.S. Forest Service the ones selling or potentially selling their land?
In this case, it's mostly BLM. as far as I know. But it's not the BLM that's wanting to do this. They're being forced into it.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like the wolves.
Oh, there you
like the-
go. Another hole.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you,
I'm going to
Michael.
stay out of this when my phone's dying anyway.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right,
fellas, for
great.
the opportunity, though. We'll talk soon.
Come on anytime you want.
Appreciate it, buddy. Take
All
care.
right. Guess it's just us tonight, Benny.
Oh, well. Ratings
I don't know
will
where Jared
plummet.
is. Brandon, I sent Brandon the link, but I don't know where. I bet you he's out chasing a lion. Let me make sure I didn't get an email.
This next, Nicholas asked a question that's needs addressing. What's wrong with the states owning the land and managing it? On the surface, nothing. However, you don't have the freedom. Michael touched on that. The
Mhm.
state can lock it up. It's just like patented lands, all kinds of different things can happen. And along with the state, depending on what the state does with the land, they can open it up for hunting during hunting season with a licensed hunter. Now, if you don't have a hunting or fishing license, they could say you don't have any access.
Or a
There's
wood
all
cutting
kinds,
permit.
or wood cutting. Yeah, well, that's true. But
Mhm.
there's all different. It just depends on how everything is written, and it's not always conducive for public access. You know, it's my wife and I were just in East Texas, and she says, I kind of like to live over here in Texas. And I said, well, I don't want the humidity. I don't want the mosquitoes that look like small dragonflies. There's nothing for me to do other than fish. There's no access for anything, you know. And in Arizona, I can get on my razor and I can drive down Interstate 17 if I want, if I keep up
Mhm.
with traffic. I can literally go from, I'm looking at property at Peoples Valley. I could literally go across the mountain, stay on dirt roads the entire time, and go to Bartlett Lake.
Mhm.
And
Well, and
you
then
can't do that everywhere else.
Nicholas said, "What's wrong with states owning the land?" There's a reason. So you got state trust land, and they can sell that off or trade it anytime they want. So I don't
Yeah.
think you want the states owning the land. And the bad thing is forestry can't just trade it off and do whatever unless they go through all this crap that they're going through. But they can shut it down, and they will shut it down, and they can shut down a road and quit giving access for some odd reason because of erosion. And when I see erosion and all that is when they shut it down. There's nobody traveling on it no more, and then it starts really getting bad. So, and that's federal, and I think that makes it public land. It's okay to be public land, but the thing is
You know
they're
what's
coming in trying to put these uh, solar panels up, and there's a lot of state land they can do that. That's worthless. Like he said, there's a lot of land that nothing lives in that they can do this to.
well, but I haven't seen that land other than in Nevada outside of Laughlin. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's something, Chris. There's always something. Whether there's a rabbit living out there, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
coyote chasing the rabbit, and there's a badger following the coyote. The list goes on. But the, it's interesting. This whole deal is interesting because if you look at the U.S. Constitution, the BLM and the U.S. Forest Service are illegal according to the Constitution. The land should belong to the state or the county, and and so the problem is that the Forest Service, more so than the BLM, they don't want us out there, but they can't do anything about it 100% of the time. They look for every excuse to close it off, like the Rodeo Chetasky fire. I was working the fire, and then I was working back in there after the fire when we were the only ones allowed to be there. We had the whole forest to ourselves because we were working on the roads and stuff. And I thought that at that time, this is just a crock of crap. It's still our U.S. government, our U.S. Forest Service land. I've been in New Mexico up in the Jemez Mountains, and people have gone to these hot springs way up on the side of the mountain and cemented tubs up there. Well, they were nice. They did a nice job, and the U.S. Forest Service posted signs that no trespassing. It's for use for Forest Service employees only. And I thought, what the hell's the matter? So there's always going to be posturing. There's always going to be power grabs. There's always going to be all sorts of stuff. But for the freedom of public use, the state is not necessarily the best answer because they want to make income off of it.
Yeah.
And you can tell the federal government doesn't, because they did away with logging. They've done away with mining. They've done away with the bulk of the cattle industry. So
It's
they
because
don't
they
have to
get
have.
pressured by the conservationist advocates that come in and say you're going to destroy the woodpecker or the owl, or the cattle are eating up all the food or all the grass. But I tell you what, go to a grazed off part of a forest and start a fire, and then go to a forest that has no logging and no grazing and start a fire, and see which one you
Oh
can
yeah.
put out easier.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And it's all about control. Everything they're doing is about control, and it's about generating money. No matter what they're doing, they're
All
looking
about
for
the
new
money.
ways. All about the money and the control, and that's the bottom line. And we've just got to do our part to make the
We have to
money and the
stay on top
control.
of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And have it the least impacting in our life.
The only peckerwoods that are just disrupted are in Washington. And then so and you get like I watched the Mountain Lion Foundation had a webinar today, and there was a lot of legal stuff. It was a lawyer talking about how they're trying to sue Utah for their stuff. But that's exactly all these people that want to hug a tree, don't want to. A person who don't want to log a forest, it's the same person who don't want to hunt animals. Management, habitat management, or wildlife management. You have these people that have no clue, that are sitting in their house, and when the fire comes through and burns their house down, and then they realize, or when a bear breaks into a house or a car, all of a sudden they want the bear gone. So they have no clue. And I listened to that today. I'm just like, man, we're doomed with stupidity, is what it is.
Well, look at they attacked the loggers for the spotted owl, and they shut down all of the sawmills in the Southwest. And now the spotted owl isn't even on the radar. And the whole deal was a lie, because nothing lives in old growth dead timber. It's just too there's nothing there. Everything wants new life. And so they did away with all the timber sales. They did away with the logging and all of that. And I'll just say for Arizona, for example, because that's where I was. And they said it for the spotted owl. Well, guess what? Now all that habitat is no more,
Well, that
and we
was
don't
the
hear
Wallow
anything.
fire, right? Down in 27 and
No,
1. They had
well,
the
the bear wallow.
yes, it was the owl and it was a woodpecker. It was like two birds that they were
Well,
worried about.
it started way back when they closed down the sawmill at Eager. It was about the spotted owl. But since then, the rodeo fire started, and then that woman got lost in the mountains on
Yeah.
the Chetasky fire, and then they joined, and I was working that fire when that
Well,
happened. And
she was a forest lady who shot off her flare, right?
no, no,
Oh, she built
it
a
was an
tire fire.
no, it was just a fire made out of sticks. She was an
Yeah.
old lady, an older woman. Got to be careful here. An older woman who was out hiking, and she got lost. She got turned around, and she kept calling people, and they thought that she was just kidding around. And so about the time that her cell phone was about dead, they realized, hey, maybe she really is needing help. And so she built a little fire as a signal fire out on the edge of a clearing, I think. And they sent a helicopter looking for her. The helicopter spotted the smoke. They go over there and set the helicopter down on top of the damn signal fire.
Oh,
And the prop wash spread the fire.
and that was
And
the Chetasky fire.
that's the Chetasky fire.
And then the other one though wasn't
The rodeo fire,
wasn't it a firefighter started it too on the
yes,
reservation?
a member of the White Mountain Apache tribe that was
Because he
out of
needed
work.
money.
He needed money, and he thought if he started this little fire at the rodeo grounds, he could get they hire some firefighters. Only thing is, the wind was howling, and overnight it turned into 25,000 acres.
Mm-hmm. And he
So
disappeared. No longer on the reservation. That's all I'm going to say about that. He was supposedly banned from the reservation,
but anyway, and you go through the Southwest where they have all these fires, and you show me where that helped the owl. If he's actually living, if he needs that old growth timber, where is he?
well,
Well,
and they don't,
the only thing that takes over is locust and oak.
and they don't let them come in and log that after it burns,
No,
which is
no,
ridiculous.
it's just, yeah, it's a waste.
Mm-hmm. Termites love it. They keep looking for the ivory-billed woodpecker here so they can shut us down. Oh, they look for anything, anywhere. If a platypus fell out of someone's truck they brought over and it was in the forest, they'd shut it down and we'd be done. Well, it's a sad deal, and I think the government's too big to where we feel it's too big and we can't do nothing about it. So we have to fight twice as hard, because I think we're kind of ignorant to the politics. I am.
I liken it to this whole entire situation with our government. I liken it to, we're just plantation workers,
Mm-hmm.
and we do not have the power, although we're trying to rise up against the man that owns the plantation that keeps skinning us for our labor, and we're not strong enough to go up against him.
No, there's not enough of us to go up against them. It has to be everybody.
Everybody older than me died, and those guys would have shot everybody in Washington.
And the people now actually they think they favor communism or socialism, or so it gets kind of crazy, and
Well,
that's
it's
the
because
same
they're
people that are trying
freeloaders.
to shut down
Yeah,
hunting.
they're freeloaders, Chris. They're
Mm-hmm.
leeches. They think that anybody that has $1 billion screwed everybody to get it, and therefore he should give me some of that because he doesn't need it all. Well, why don't you get off your damn ass and go out there and earn $500,000 yourself and see how good that works?
Yep.
When I was welding in the oil field, I was throwing money left and right. I didn't want to pay any taxes, and I was making good money. But should I have given it to somebody that wasn't wanting to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go get a job? That's the whole idea behind all of this socialism crap.
I bought a permit from Weyerhaeuser to run my dogs. It was a few years ago. After a couple of visits, a notice was put up: no hound hunting. Could you hunt anything else? Could you go hunt without hounds, or they just specifically said no hounds? I heard they weren't very good people anyways.
It's all about the money. It's always all about the money.
Well, then I wouldn't get a hound. Go get something else, like a poodle.
Well, but at the same time, Missy's not going to tell them, hey, I need a permit to go run my dogs, and they're all bird dogs. She's telling them everything that's going on, and they said, oh, that's a $325 permit. Okay, thank you very much. Here's your money. Here's my permit. Oh, and now we changed our mind. Well, where's my $325?
Mm-hmm. And
So
is that
maybe there should be. I mean, I'm just grouchy enough. I think, well, maybe they should have a forest fire.
is that clear it out? Is that forestry that they're leasing, or is
Yes,
that see? I don't get how they can even block it off.
because it's the lumber companies on the Pacific Northwest are completely different than what we're accustomed to in the desert Southwest, Chris.
You know what they do for state land too? And I called the rancher because it's all blocked off, and he said, "Oh, that's the land guy. He blocked it off, but I don't think it was. I think it's, well, I know what it is. He didn't want no one over there, and he's using the land guide to say, oh, they're coming and destroying stuff, and he didn't want no one around his cattle down there. But you can still go in, you just can't drive in now. So what they're doing is making it harder and harder to be able to access, for one, guns, for two, ammo, three, now it's getting harder and harder to access property. You know, it's kind of like there was a song that said America was trying to build a prison. So if everybody has a felony, then you don't have to worry about the Second Amendment, do you? It's the same thing here. You don't have to worry about hunting if you can't access it. And they chip away, just like the anti-hunters, they chip away one road at a time.
Chris, there could be somebody trespassing on your property, and they hear you raising hell with your kids, and they don't have to worry about whether your kids are feral or tame.
Mm-hmm.
They can make a phone call, 911. Hey, there's a domestic disturbance going on right here. I'll send you a pin location. And the police show up, and they have a domestic disturbance call. And so they treat it as such. And if you are charged with any kind of domestic violation, you are no longer
Not
allowed
convicted,
to own a,
just charged.
No, just charged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, no firearms in your future for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
No, everything is against us. And what do you think the wolves are about? They're about getting rid of the ranchers. They're getting rid of the campers and everything else. They don't want people out there. And if they can put us in the concrete jungle, then they can control us easier.
Yep.
And we'll take each other out.
And that's why we have so many permits and stuff. You know, sooner or later, you'll have to have a camping permit. You know, I had a guy from New York come camping with me. And he said, how much wood do I have to bring? I said, for what? He said, for the fire. Because I guess some places in New York, those camping grounds, you can't pick up wood. You have to bring wood to burn. And he was kind of amazed that we could just go cut a tree down and, you know, for firewood or cut up all that dead wood out there. You know, everywhere is different. Let me see. Missing seeing and listening to Benny on Brett's show. We don't talk about that. You can always use a spear. No, they own it. They're a private timber company, so they own the land. There you go. Well, it kind of sucks that they gave a permit out and then revoke it.
But do they own the land or do they own the trees on the land?
The lease.
See, that's what I don't know. I think they lease the land, but they own the trees.
So I was
is that accurate?
Down south where I hunt. This was 20 years ago. I pulled on the BLM, and I'm parked and I'm unloading horses. Or maybe I was just getting back from riding, and someone pulled up and says, "You can't be here. I own this." I said, "You don't own this, BLM." No, I lease it. I own it. I said, "You own the grass." I said, "I'm not parked on your grass." I said, "You worry about your grass, but other than that, you don't own nothing else. You can feed your animals here and water, and that's about it." Well, I said, "Where are you from?" California. I said,
the sad part is there's difficult people on both sides of that fence. You know, this, like, I've got a razor. And so because I've got 1,000cc razor, it's just taken for granted from a lot of the landowners or the ranchers or the permittees or anybody else that I'm part of that crowd that just goes out there and does donuts and tears up all their land. And I don't. In fact, I bought one without a turbo because I want to go slow and I want to be in the rock crawling and I want to do all of that. You know, I don't have to go warp 89.
Do donuts in the middle of an intersection?
Yeah, I mean, but there's too many people that do, and so there's two different people on. You know, it's just two sides of the fence.
Oh, that's the same comment. Well, I think we need to be appreciative of what we got.
Listen, listen, Jeremy, I was on the stinking road and I was way late going to bed.
It was like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And I only made it across that hour and a half drive in an hour and 10 minutes. So I didn't really get it that hard.
Wasn't that fast? You didn't
My
kill nobody.
gosh. No. I never caught Calvin. And he was
I
in
know.
a Toyota.
And didn't he get pulled over? Game and
I
fish.
don't know.
Yeah, game and fish on his way down. He
Oh,
got pulled over
on
on
the-
his
yeah.
way. Where is
On
Calvin?
the way in there. It was
got
noon.
pulled-
It was not. Listen to him. He doesn't know the difference between squirrel hunting and lion hunting. He doesn't. He's drinking way too much of that swamp soup.
Jeremy is.
Yeah.
He stole the jar of that Kentucky Mason jar applesauce.
Woo.
They own the land. They own it.
Okay.
Well,
So
I
then
guess
they
they can
can
shut
do
it
whatever
down.
they
You shouldn't
want.
sell a permit though. You
That's
know, you
true.
should say, "Here's your money back."
That's right.
But you can still hunt on it. You just can't use hounds. Is that
Yeah, but
that's true?
Missy's not going in there saying, "I'm gonna run a bunch of Chihuahuas and go hunt rabbits."
Well, kind of. They're beagles. I'm just kidding, Missy. I promise.
Hey, she has Canadian beagles.
That is true. That's rooster suckers. That's why the rooster suckers put gates up all over the West Coast.
You don't even have to decipher that, Chris. Just leave it there.
Yeah. You know what I got? You know what I got? I got it yesterday. Someone donated a Marvin Glenn issue, 1949.
Arizona highways.
Mm-hmm.
Look
It
at
is
that.
pretty. We're gonna raffle it. Look at that. Almost forgot about it. I almost wanted to say it
Hey.
never showed up and keep it myself.
Hey, that reminds me. I said that I would take a raffle ticket. Was that for Dustin?
For what?
No, what the hell? I bet nothing. That just reminded me. I was in Texas and I said I'll take one of those raffle tickets. I don't even remember what it was for. I better look that up and pay my debt.
I don't remember. But there
Damn
you
it.
go. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. 1949 issue. I mean, the thing's an immaculate. The worst part of it has a little tiny little, see that little white spot? Look at that. I wouldn't even
And
take it
that's-
out of the plastic.
Is there an article about Marvin Glenn in there?
Yes. I don't want to open it. It's like sealed, man. Yeah, there's a story about Marvin Glenn he said in here. Is that cool or what?
Yeah.
Not Warner Glenn,
No, his dad.
his dad. The OG of OGs. Yeah. I just want to open it so bad and read the article. I'll have to find it online. We're going to raffle it. I don't know how yet. Well, I know how. I just don't know what the tickets are going to be. You're not going to find another one of these in this good a shape. That's his dog right there. Jared would be happy. What kind of dogs are those? What did Marvin have? He brought a bunch of stuff from back east too, right? Or no?
What are those?
I'm trying to. That's the line that started it all. That is what a lion looks like, Chris. Tell Stinker that. I'm going to tell you, if Stinker seen that lion running across the road, she jumped out of the truck too. Looks like Casey Fair's truck. Now, I found something out about Casey Fair's wife. I don't know if they want anybody to know, but who she's related to. Yeah. But no wonder he married her. That's what a lion looks like, Chris. When you're supposed to be hunting, not squirrels. Next time, maybe you should make it a little bit more detailed of what you want to tree. So all you said is, I want to see something in a tree, and I did that. Yes, he does already know.
Chris, tell us, how do you get a high tan colored dog?
You know, you're asking the wrong person about stuff like that. I know how to get a Salazar bred dog. That's all I've got.
No, not a line of dogs, just a color. A high tan is just a color phase.
Oh, I don't know. Black and tan.
There
and
you
Walker?
go. Yeah. How did he know that? That swamp soup is really getting to him tonight.
And you know what? He must have got bit by one of them snapping turtles. You know what? I'm gonna bring him on. I'm gonna send him a link right now so we can make fun of him.
Yeah, Jeremy's right. It's a cross between a black and tan and a Walker, and they throw a high tan dog.
I don't do much black and tans. I've had black and tans out of my line earlier, and I didn't keep none of them because I don't know. I just didn't like black and tans. It's just one of them things. Let me send Jeremy here. We'll get him on and listen to him talk funny. See if he's out treeing. He treed a couple coons.
Do I have to get my tie?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see what he looks like first. Last time he was hunting, he treed. He treed 3 coons, maybe 4.
Yeah.
On our show last week.
You
don't see anybody. You see other shows treeing, do you? Water. Oh boy, he showed us that water last week, and I was hoping he'd fall in a big turtle hole or something. You know who has an interesting podcast this week or last week? Just Bear Grease. Go to Bear Grease, and he interviews a dude that's from another country. I don't remember his name. He comes over here and he starts hunting. Like, he tells this story about hunting for 2-3 years, and he kept missing. And then the guy said, when's the last time, like, he didn't clean his rifle or nothing. He says, when's the last time you sighted it in? He goes, what do you mean? The guy was so foreign and so third world country. He said, I thought you just bought them from, and they come sighted in. So he was shooting at stuff, missing. And he finally shoots this doe, and he calls the guy, his mentor or whatever. And he's like, what are you doing shooting does? Those are like whatever. And he sighted in. I don't know. It's a pretty good podcast. It's on Bear Grease. Let me just look it up so I can kind of throw those guys a bone. They'll probably be happy that I mentioned them on my show. You know how it is.
Hey, you know who you could invite to the Hound Hunters Rendezvous?
Brent Reeves?
Is that the guy that works for
runs with
Meat Eater?
Clay Newcomb. I'm gonna invite them all.
The guy that was on Brett's show, and
Brent Reeves.
Is that who it was?
He does a podcast too, This Country Life.
He said that he'd go.
Oh, Pablo Esquivel, Costa Rica to Alabama.
Pablo.
He's kind of funny. He's like, let me add Jeremy. Look at him sitting at home.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Look at he's pretending to be in Arizona.
Tired of the water here.
You know where that is? You're overlooking right there. I can almost see Roosevelt Lake.
No, actually, that's
the
White
side.
Mountain Apache Indian Reservation right here. And that way back there is New Mexico.
Oh, that's 3C?
No.
Where'd you take that from?
That's 23. Where Casey and I were at.
Oh, looking
Okay.
east. Looking east. Yep.
I should have recognized that, but I'm trying to get out of there.
Well, straight down the hill about at this point, I think it was 100 yards. He had one dog that we couldn't get to. And she beat us up at the top.
You ready to come back to Arizona?
I'd come back tomorrow if we keep getting all this crazy stuff at work.
Well, a couple more months. I got to start putting that hound rendezvous together, which I guess I could mention it, right?
Is it going to be farther south?
No, I think it's going to be up the hill more towards Casey's place. I got to go down. You know what? I'll see if he's home this weekend. I dumped the kids off with my daughter, and she's going to the valley. I thought I had that. No, I don't have it on here. Nope.
I just text him and he texts me back late at night or early in the mornings because they have zero service.
Yeah, unless they get on their Starlink.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeremy, what have you been up to back there? Any more coons this week? Or is it still raining in Louisiana?
No, it rained a little bit last night. Not enough to knock the dust down, but I hadn't been since Saturday. Dogs got sore feet, so.
My dogs have long nails. I finished up my PI case today, though.
I got one that hers don't ever get short unless I shorten them myself.
Dirty grows really fast. Got my little 1980 Toyota running. I don't think I'm going to have a dog truck ready to give away, though, for the rendezvous.
Jared asked me, he said, "What are those?" I said, "Toenails."
His dog's toenails are about that big. Jared's toenails are even worse.
He had one that didn't have any.
Oh, I don't doubt it. You know, Brandon was telling me that he was getting used to them mules, and he's doing a lot of work and trying to get him a Mustang.
He bought one.
Yeah, and the guy's going to train it for him if he welds a fence. So he went and spent a few $1,000s on a fence instead of a good horse, so he could weld so this guy could break the horse for him. But I like them Mustangs over there.
He bought a welder too.
Yep, nice one. Now everybody telling me I should become a realtor up here in Sholo, sell you guys property.
I've been waiting for, seems like forever.
I got a few. I just got to. I tried to get a hold of the owners.
I'm gonna be like a tick. I got a buddy of mine gonna sabotage Benny and put a little GPS tracker on him. Next time he comes east, I'm gonna hitch a ride.
I'm trying to decide when to go to Cody's, so it'll be a long ride.
It's 16 hours for me. He's way down there.
He's north of Houston, isn't he?
He's down by McAllen.
No,
he's above McAllen a little bit.
He's southwest of Houston.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go 20 yards, yeah. If you go 20 yards south, you're in the ocean, and if you go 20 yards, which way? So 20 yards to the east, you're in Mexico. So he lives right down there, but we're gonna go fishing and we're gonna go catch a bobcat so I can see how to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to go down there a couple Mondays ago when
he's gonna spoil you, Benny.
He is.
What's that?
Well, just his
driving the truck.
Just his doghouse. Just his doghouse he has. His kennels will spoil you.
Well, that's where I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live with the dogs.
Let me see here. Got the hound trials coming up in a couple weeks if you're from Arizona. So if anybody wants to go some hound trials. Where is Richard?
I haven't seen Richard on here.
I know. Richard, are you there? Sometimes he'll just chime in every once in a while.
Somebody was asking about Rick Cooley too, because they had some tornadoes and stuff went through their country.
I feel like Rick Cooley. He sends me a lot. Let me look on my messenger.
If Rick's been keeping track of Dustin, he's got jet lag right now.
Rick Cooley's online right now. So, and you just texted me May 17th. I'm going to tell him people
There
ask.
he is.
Did he jump on? There he is. Yeah, I'm here.
There he is.
I was about to text him and say, where you at? What do you think about how is your land situation in Louisiana? A lot of private? I know you have a chunk of
It's
public.
probably 95% private.
No,
We
he
have-
has not moved to Arizona yet.
I'm trying to think. I know of only one Forest Service property, which it covers like the central part of the state, Kisatchie. I'm trying to think of how many federally owned refuges we have.
Is that your new house? Like that,
See, he's got a bedroom for me.
big old shop. Look like a big old shop. Look like a big old shop on that one side.
That's called the doghouse, Chris.
Is that your man cave? Oh, he has to plug back in. Is that your man cave over there? The doghouse or the big garage on that one side, Benny? I think waiting for him to plug in. Can you hear us now, Benny?
I can't
Can you
hear
hear us?
anything now.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear us now?
I don't think he can hear you.
No, we can hear you.
There it is.
Can you hear us now?
There it is. Yeah.
Was that a garage, a doghouse, a shop on that one side?
Yeah, that's a 2-car garage that's 48 feet deep. In case I ever get a limo or something.
Motorhome.
That's so he can park that big old long Ford in there.
Mm-hmm. He drives a Dodge.
I'm going to, let's see, the 12th of June, I'll be in Phoenix to go get my Ford.
Oh, you're gonna go to a Power Stroke?
I've had it. I bought it brand new as my welding truck. It's a 6.0 and I put $8,000 into that thing, making it run. And then I developed a water leak that I needed to get fixed. So I took it to my cousin's son, who's a 6.0 kind of guy. And all it was a 3-inch hose.
Well, Madison ain't in Arizona, is she? Should have left her down here in New Mexico. Should have just left her here. Homeschooled. We'd have learned her something.
Wouldn't have been right. It'd have been something.
You'd have learned.
Rick, I
Yep.
don't know. I haven't come up with anything yet. Cody said everything's good from now until, I don't remember if he said September or October, but when I talked to him yesterday, it was only 111 degrees, and I'm thinking,
Ooh.
damn,
Yeah,
111 degrees and 92% humidity probably.
And he's running at night.
Here and 80% humidity.
I did tell him that we would get in trouble. We would definitely have a good opportunity to make it to that TV show Lone Star Law, and he laughed and he said no, his brother's in charge of that, all the show stuff for Texas, and he said so he wouldn't put us on TV, but we would get in trouble.
Yeah, I'd like to go down there and run a little bit. I was trying to go look at that job by him, but he said, no, wait till there's one closer. And then the job didn't start that Monday, just started this week.
He's got an airboat now. He bought an airboat just before he got his arm screwed up, and man, wouldn't it be fun romping around in between fishing trips?
Shoot, I need one just to hunt dogs.
All that water you got. Is it still raining there? Or no?
Yeah, but
It's dry right now. It stopped about a week ago, and it don't take long to dry out.
Jeremy, how them dogs run different when it's raining and a lot of water than when it's not?
I've got one that doesn't do well in the water. She just slows
Don't like
her
to be
down.
wet.
No, it just slows her down. No, every one of mine likes the water, but she don't like to run in it. You know,
I always figured that when you got a wet bear or coon and it's running through there, it spread a little more scent, just being saturated.
it messes them up.
Too much scent,
Mm-hmm.
maybe spreads out too much.
Yeah. That for some of my, more hot nosed dogs, they don't bother them, but she's a little bit colder nosed. She
So you
can't
think
run one that runs across the road.
down there in the swamps when it's wet, you think those raccoons get a scent funnel like a bear does?
I don't know. Probably. I would figure.
My cousin texted me. He can't. He says he can't comment on the show. He said, "I know both sides of the fence of hunting and ranching because he's a rancher. The reason state land get locked off in an area is because all these people that have moved out of California and Washington and Oregon just come in and act like they can just drive across it, make a million roads, cut fences. It doesn't matter where they drive. They don't care. They think they can do whatever they want out there. You know, we've had cows killed, ran over. That's when state land gets locked off because we're tired of having to deal with the public that doesn't care about anybody else's stuff. That is more or less why state land gets blocked off. But what Chris said, you can walk out there, so it's not technically blocked off. It's just people don't want to get out of their trucks and go walking, which is a good thing. I'll be honest with you. If they locked off, I don't think it'd bother me because I have a mule. So if they just locked off everything and you could still go on, just like a wilderness, right? That's all it is. A wilderness is just blocked off. They just locked it off. But you can still ride a mule in there. So I don't
That's
think
kind of the way it is here. You know, whenever these federal lands open up for running my coon dogs for the 1 month they're open, you can't ride a side by side or a four wheeler, but you can ride a mule or a horse.
Oh, so Michael Craven just texted me and said, it's official. The public land sale amendment was pulled from the reconciliation package, which is a big win.
Yeah, I just read that a while ago.
That's crazy. I don't like how when they do a bill. Now, if you do a bill, right, you should, if the bill says we're going to take 10 gallons from the Colorado River, and that's what the bill is for. And all of a sudden there's something in there that says, oh, by the way, we're gonna dredge mine the Colorado River as well. Oh, and also we're gonna go ahead and charge you taxes on your tires. Like a bill should be a bill. There should be not a lot of it should whatever that bill is what it is, period. But they cram all this crap in there. Is that not how they got it by Utah for the lion hunt? It was
ours they use some sort of, a medical bill or an education bill.
And they took away what?
Well, they just whatever they want to pass, they ease it in there, and it's like, this great awesome bill, but nobody reads the fine print, and then you get some crazy stuff in there.
Yeah, I think that should be illegal. I think if you put a bill out, it should be a bill for what it is. Whatever that title says, if it says we're taking 10 gallons out of the river, that's all you're doing. Not we're building a bridge over it. And oh yeah, by the way, we're annexing 100 yards on each side of it in the private property as well. Saw a video of him holding a cat and another one with the dogs trailing. Who's that? Someone asked something. Oh, Dustin's African trip. I think I have some pictures if anybody didn't see it last time. Of course, I did play one that they shot the cat out of the tree and I didn't know. Oops. So there's Dustin with it. Let me get rid of that comment. There's with.
He makes that cat huge.
Yeah. What is that? Caracal? Is that what they're called?
Caracal, yeah.
Caracal. And what is this one? Oh, there's another picture of it. Mm-hmm. And I do have a video of them. This is their country. I think when you think Africa, you think of just desert, like the Lion King. And every time you see those other countries like that, like, saying Iran is the same way. You think of it's just desert dunes, but it's just like Arizona. Here's another one. Maybe. There were some tall dogs too.
Yeah.
Tall dogs. They look like
When's
some
he
running
getting
dogs.
back?
Today.
Why is that picture?
I don't know if he gets back to the States today or if he gets back to Arizona today, but either way, if he gets back to the States today, he'll be in Atlanta, I think, and then back to Phoenix tomorrow.
And then sleep
If
till
that's
Monday.
well, if he's in Atlanta today and he's in bed, I tried to encourage him to stay awake until it was bedtime. That's the absolute only way to avoid 3 or 4 or 5 days of total exhaustion,
Mm,
because that jet lag tears you up coming this direction.
I bet.
So
Rick's done it enough.
was he able to bring it back?
Yeah. That's what he said.
Good deal.
You got to harvest it and bring it back or sip it back or whatever they're going to do. Here's it in the tree. I won't play the whole thing this time. Lagging. I feel like those dogs don't bark like my dogs do. Mine go kind of crazy on a tree. I don't know. It's a difference.
Have you've communicated with him, Chris? Did he catch any jackals, or were they just
no?
all caribous?
They didn't catch no jackals. No, I think Cody told me. Cody talked to Scott, the picture guy. Who takes all the pictures, and he's already home. But I think he lives in UK, don't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I don't think they caught nothing on the second hunt. They caught 2 cats, is what I heard, and nothing on the jackals. So, you would think those jackals would be easy to catch because there's a lot of them over there, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot over there. Maybe not.
If you go over there, you'll discover that it's a lot of country, just like everywhere else, and everything's not sitting there waiting for you to show up.
That's what he said. He said, I know how hound hunting is. You catch them and you don't catch them. You see them, you don't. So he kind of had that advantage. Some hunters probably get over there, and I think any hunter you bring over when you're guiding or anything, they believe that you're just going to go catch something because that's how it is on TV. But it's not how it is.
Well, social media has made everything look a lot easier than what it really is.
Come on, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a yes. Did he catch any jackals? No.
So
you're right, Benny. It is a plane ride from hell.
So the one plane, if he took a plane from Johannesburg straight to Atlanta, which is a common deal, that's a 20-hour flight. And I don't care how you cut it up, 20 hours in one big tube sucks.
You know, I only Rick Cooley says, you know, I only have one leg. Cody wanted me to take one of his dogs to Africa as my service dog. Cody trying to get his dogs over there. Probably worked, wouldn't it?
Might as well.
Maybe.
Especially if
Yep.
you put a little pad strapped over him so it's on his back,
Mhm.
and you know these scooters that everybody has when they got a bad leg, you could just put your missing leg on the back of that dog and lead him
Mhm.
along. So I think that'd work. You got to think
See-
outside of the box.
See that, Jeremy?
Yeah, you didn't read my comments. I said that's what a cat's supposed to look like.
I read
That's
your
what you're
comment.
supposed to be hunting, not
No.
squirrels.
Squirrels are easier to catch. I only need one dog. I guess if anybody wants to raffle, go to azwda.com. Maybe I'll do I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to do raffle for. What do you guys think?
How many? It depends. I think you can't replace that magazine.
I know, man. I mean, it's in
I would think
excellent
that's
condition.
that's a $250 to $500 magazine all day long.
Should I do limited?
No,
I'll figure it out.
Why you would
Yeah.
limit it? Try to get as much out of it as you possibly can.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There is. Looks like there's a little writing on the front. I don't know if you can see it. See those little. I didn't notice those till just now. But I still pay for it. Maybe it was the price of the magazine back then. I just want to read the article. I wonder if anybody has one with an article. Super funny. Benny, tell one of those old ladies smells like a cat on the plane.
We'll leave those long plane rides alone. We'll just let somebody experience it on their own.
I'll figure out the
There
raffle
was
on
a
this, and then I'll post it on azwda.com, or we'll bring it up next week.
I always flew Delta, and on the same flight every year, it was the same people, same flight, same everything. And there was one of those women that was a whatever you're supposed to call those people on the airplane now, stewardesses, but
Oh,
flight attendant.
flight
So this
attendant.
gal had real thick hair, and she had white hair. I mean, white as white could be. And she had a braid in the back that was, I don't know, almost 2 feet long. So she shook her hair out, and my wife butched all her hair off. And I told my wife years ago, I said, it's pitiful. When I look at another woman, I look at her hair. And I told that woman on that flight, I said, you have the most amazing hair I've seen on an older woman in years. Oh, well, thank you so much. So that's the only woman story I'm going to tell, Rick. And I did tell my wife when she went with me, I said, hey, check out that lady's hair. And she rolled her eyes and told me whatever.
Just buy her a wig.
That's why I had to buy the spear.
Protect himself.
Keep her from whooping him.
Well, guys, I say I'm going to keep it short tonight.
Something that wasn't brought up in all that land stuff is these national monuments. The federal government's been using the national monument land grab against all of us. It's still federal land, but they take it and put it into a national monument, like on the Arizona Strip. Look at what Bill Clinton put all that Grand Escalante staircase crap, and now you can't access it like you used to. I guess you can go in there afoot or you can go in there horseback, but you can't do all the hunting and everything else that you used to do.
It's like the
So
state parks.
yeah,
Same thing, right?
yeah, it's the same kind of thing. They did that over here by Las Cruces with the Oregon Mountains, and the Oregon Mountains are gnarly. They're rough, and I used to go over there and hunt on cockasus in the Oregon Mountains, and I guess I could still do that, but um, for a big chunk of the Oregon Mountains and then a bunch of land out all the way around. I think Brett showed it on some of his videos where that national monument for the Oregon Mountains is back in the flats, down on the flats too. They, so there's all different kinds of land grabs and it's been taking place. And I think almost every time it works out worse for the public.
Hmm. I think everything works out worse for the public, no matter what it is. And the land grab, all this land stuff, it don't just affect hunters. You know, he was happy we were just jumping on board, but I don't think we think about that too much. It's a lot of those hikers and bicyclers and
Well, it affects
trekkers. And,
everybody.
mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
Everything
like
they
this.
do affects everybody else.
That's like this wildlife refuge right here. It used to be the biggest in the country, owned by U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Now they've got one permanent employee. Everybody else is shipped in from somewhere else.
Hmm. And you
For
can't hunt on
for 110,000 acres.
and you can't hunt on it or nothing.
Yeah, you can hunt on it.
What is it? A short 2 weeks or a month or something, or what is that?
Well, you've got the month of, let's see, it's January to the end of February for like dog, squirrel season, and coon. And let's see, October you can start squirrel hunting, and I think mid-November archery opens, but they have like 3 or 4 draw hunts for rifle, and you got a muzzle loader and a doe only hunt. But it's a lot of revenue that comes in from that one place.
Well, we got to keep. Well, lucky it went away. They pulled that amendment, so that means they got enough traffic. So we don't have to worry about it in Nevada and Utah, which means hopefully they'll stay away from Arizona and New Mexico and whoever else they try to get. New Mexico's a lot of private land too, though, isn't it, Benny?
Yeah, and there's what they're talking. Somebody said something about big money's buying it. Over
It's probably Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey. They're the
well,
ones
but there's
buying up
more than
all the
that.
farmland around here.
But there's somebody told me that I asked about the. Oh, he might be watching tonight. There's a big ranch over here, the Double H's, and the Sorensen family just donated it to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. They
Oh,
didn't ever want it to
yeah.
be. And then the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation sold it. And the guy that bought it bought a bunch of ranching or parts of ranches all around it. And he doesn't do anything. He doesn't hunt. He doesn't have cattle. He's just hoarding land. And he's doing that all over.
What was the deal with him and the Wolves? Ted Turner. That was Ted Turner's, right?
No, Ted Turner, this is a different deal. Ted Turner supplied the pins and the place for them to have all of those wolves. And then whenever they got ready to quit raising the wolves, then they just turned all the wolves loose right there and said, oh, they'll never leave that ranch. And hell, they're everywhere. That was on the Ladder Ranch where he had those wolves.
Ladder Ranch. And they're still there.
No.
The wolves.
They turned all the wolves loose, and they probably got rid of the pins. I don't know, but the wolves did not stay on the ladder ranch. There's some there on the ladder ranch. They come and go, but they scattered out all over.
Well,
I just wish that people would run them over every chance they got.
yeah, or a big eagle would come down and swipe them.
There's only
You know,
one
those-
wolf here that I know of, and it's mounted.
I was talking to John Klump today, and he told me that he's heard, he doesn't know if it's a fact or not, but the wolves that are down there in Cochise County, they're supposed to gather them up and take them somewhere else, which I really find that hard to believe. And if that's the case, then I don't think that it wouldn't be something permanent, because their desire is to use the wolf to get rid of the people out in the country.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think they're scared that there's a lot of people down there that will get rid of those wolves without
Well,
asking.
that's true,
I
but
think those wolves
but
will disappear.
you know, I don't know. They had so much trouble keeping wolves alive at first, and they finally found somebody that was knocking them in the head, and everything quieted down. I always thought it would be fun to put a wolf collar on a mountain lion and turn the mountain lion loose. Let them explain that. I mean, you hear the stories. You could put them on a truck at a truck stop, and they could chase them all across the country. But those collars keep track of their breathing, their heartbeat, and everything
Mhm.
else. So if you was to just switch animals and put it on a mountain lion, that'd really be fun.
So where's the distribution of those at?
Of the wolves,
Yeah.
well, it used to be on the ladder ranches where they started,
Where
and then they
they
put them
want
out
to
on
put them,
they put them out in Arizona to begin
right,
with.
Benny?
It
I don't
used
know
to-
how they determine it.
wherever they're pissed off at the rancher, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
You know, they
wasn't an Alpine like? Isn't that the 27 was their first where they started putting them? I remember the pins down there on Sheep's Saddle were like
yes,
below
they
Rattlesnake
first
and all
started
that.
south of Alpine down on the Blue. The first
South
ones they
of
ever put down.
540 is what Anderson said.
Yeah, but the very first ones were
Yeah,
right
long
there
time
south
ago.
of Alpine on the Arizona-New Mexico border. I was going to buy a ranch in New Mexico that bordered Arizona, and the price was right, and it's perfect country, and neighbored some friends of mine in Arizona, but I knew the wolf deal was coming, and I also knew that I didn't need to go to prison, so I passed.
Didn't need no more U.S. wildlife on you.
Oh, that was before they were on me.
Mm-hmm. Well, they'd be on you twice as much if you was out there plinking wolves.
Well,
Man,
Chris sicked the undercover on me the other day.
I did. Gave him your number. Said, ask this guy. Ask this guy what's going on. I don't know. This guy comes to Arizona and leaves with lions and deer and elk and stuff in his truck.
No,
The truck raffle. I don't have a truck. I don't have a truck I
scanned
can
me.
get done in time.
They've scanned me twice in New Mexico.
Did they?
Mm-hmm.
Benny should raffle off his mustache to raise money for Madison. That thing would bring a premium on here.
I thought Bonepile quit drinking.
I thought he did too. That's what he
He
said the
did.
other night.
He did. He's only what one every 20 comments he's won. If he was drinking, it'd be one comment to his 20. Been right on the wolf release. I know a guy that worked for the Forest Service and bragged he flew in the first one. Well, should have just dropped him from the helicopter or plane.
My daughter's first husband was a government trapper, and I was so proud of him. He got to kill several of them.
Oh, it's coming, and they're already whining about the ones they've had to kill. I see it all over the all over. It was a Dakota. And I won't have it done in time. There's no way I have it done.
Always excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What are we paying you for?
My good looks. That's why I don't make
Lord
much.
help us. We're all doomed.
No, I have actually been looking for a truck that's already running to where I have less problems. So I actually went down and looked at I did go down and look at one yesterday, but it was junk. And then the guy called me a punk because I didn't buy it. But I checked the oil on it, and it was invisible oil, I guess. Had no oil in it. Didn't even register on the
electric ones.
Yeah, that's what I should have asked him. Is this an electric car? There's no oil in it. The front end was falling out. You turned too hard with the power steering, and it squirted out onto the muffler, onto the exhaust manifold. So it's probably a hose or something cracked in there, and it started smoking. The guy was hyped up on crank or something. I don't know what it was. So I'm still looking. Maybe. Yep. I had it lined up too to get it coated, fixed, but that fell through because the guy's getting a divorce. So that was a no-go. Now it's a no-go. That one is. I could raffle that bus. It runs. I got to go down and get it, but it's getting hot. I was trying to drive it up here when it wasn't so hot in case it broke down. So I do got that bus. Put some bunk beds in it, shower.
I saw something the other day that reminded me of you. It was a bus. It was, cut in half, and the back half was like a flatbed.
Oh, yeah.
Front half was a camper.
Bronx and Donks built a horse trailer in the back of theirs. So I'm not down there. I got to get it up here. I was trying to get my mule. If I get my mule to load in there, I'm going to build a little stall right behind my driver's seat so she can just watch the road with me. It'd be cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll just sell that bus and buy a truck so I can raffle it off, give it away. We'll see if it runs on that quart jar stuff brought from Kentucky.
Yeah,
I guarantee you. That stuff was uncut.
Yeah, we
still have some in my freezer.
You and Calvin both, grew wings and flew.
They put it in their tank. Here we go. Oh yeah, stupid comment. All right. Second annual.
Is that the actual dates, Chris?
Yeah. Yep. That is second annual Hound Hunters Rendezvous, August 22nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I think he said we have it for the whole week. We can stay there because it's on 4th. As long as there ain't a fire going, which if there's a fire going, we won't be able to go there anyways. But that's where they stage, I guess, the firefighters is in this area.
Well, then it would be safe.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say. And we can sell some steak dinners to them. So go to azwda.com if you guys want to buy there's a link.
And it's working now. So.
Yeah, it's working now. I better buy mine. I always wait till the last minute to buy mine. And then this weekend is the Arizona Hound Trials. We had to move. It's not located by Jones Crossing off this no more. So don't pay attention to that bottom one. If you guys are interested, get hold of me. It's in a little better area. When we had to go a couple weekends ago, me and my wife rode the motorcycle down there and jumped in with those guys and went and ran a new track. So that'd be fun. Be different because they've been doing it for 20, 25 years at that same spot. So you got dogs who've been running there for 5-6 years, and they kind of know that tree. I don't think they just know the quad takes off. We let it go. They go to the tree. Now we're going to have dogs running everywhere, I think. We got a little tiny pond for the water race, so it's not going to be real great, but it's a good time. Get the kids out if anybody's interested. hound trials, not this weekend, the weekend after. 30th.
If,
what was it?
what if somebody wants to go and get the kids out, but they don't have any kids of their own? Can they borrow some of yours?
Absolutely, and I'm bringing some other kids to loan out. I'm gonna put a sign on my trailer that says "Rent a kid."
There you go, Jeremy.
Rent a youth handler.
There you go, Jeremy. This is
Mhm.
your
I'd run
opportunity.
them, but I'd bring them back here and show them a good time.
They
Let
probably
them
would.
treat
Yeah.
something other than squirrels.
Keep them over there till their toes grow webbing and then bring them back.
Mm-hmm. And of course, don't forget to support Value Pack Dog Food. You know, I was going to take a picture of my dog's shit the other day because I didn't clean it for a little while, and there was a little tiny bit over there. I said, that's a good advertisement. I should have, and I was raking all my crap up because it's been a week or two since I've done it. But they don't crap a whole lot with that stuff, to be honest. It's been better than Diamond.
I just
So,
bought another bag of that black dog food Monday.
Yep, I use the red because I'm not running so much. And so I'll probably go to the black in August.
You feeding that good stuff to that Pyrenees, Benny?
I am. Yep, and he's still skinny.
They make diet dog food, Chris.
Yeah, it's called this much. Just dribble out a few pieces. Oh, that's
Well,
another
I got
thing
one
I
that
seen.
don't eat, but you know she's still fat.
I seen I think my wife's sneaking in the trailer or my dogs. What's her name? Lauren Rainey. She had made a TikTok because the whole thing about dogs not feeding your dog so they hunt harder. And she got on TikTok and said, for you guys, I don't know this, but how many days do I not feed my dogs so they really hunt hard? You know, she's kind of doing a satire. It's kind of funny. And I got in there and left a comment. And I said, well, I said, I think I go for a week or whatever. I said, but what you do is you don't feed them and you throw them in your dog box. You got to cover your dog box with a blanket. And then you blow a bunch of meth in there and get them really hyped up. And then when you open that dog box and you're ready to run, you open that dog box with a handful of cocaine. When they come out, you throw it in their faces, so they're really hyped up and they'll go get them lion or bears. I said, but don't forget to save some for yourself because you're going to be wanting to chasing them. So I'm sure that's going to get a lot of good comments from the antis. Good old antis, man.
You know they got that good meth now. It don't even make you skinny.
No,
You still lose your teeth, but you know
I see a lot of fat people smoking
skinny.
meth.
Yeah.
The old joke was,
I wonder about that cocaine with your dogs. You know, the rooster fighters used to blow a little snort up the vent of their rooster to make them scratch one last time so they could win their fight.
oh,
So-
I don't know.
You should have thrown that in there. If you'll blow some up their tailpipe, it'll make them really charge on.
If they got their nose down on the ground, you just throw that cocaine in front of them. When they hit that cocaine, it'd be like
Afterburners.
yeah,
Put gas in their
nitrous.
water tank.
Yeah. Be like nitrous. So
Give
I'll
them some
trade-
of that Kentucky Deluxe that Benny and them barred.
Bone Pal said, I'll trade my Jip for Chris's beard and Benny's mustache. I'd be styling, profiling at the next costume party.
I think they clash.
Maybe. That's the thing now, though.
Well, yours would outline Chris's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that it?
But
Boy,
Chris dyes his, so that's the fakest red beard I've ever seen in my
I
life.
should dye
I
it.
bleached mine. Yeah,
All the gray coming out in it.
I'm platinum. I bleach mine.
That's what I'm going
My
to
job bleaches mine, Benny.
do. Helps you lose it,
Shaved
too.
my head down the other day because it was just white.
Yeah. Yeah, I cut my hair, too, summertime.
White and turning loose.
Mine's turning loose a little bit, too. But I made it to 50 with some hair on top, so I'm good to go. Well, guys, 2 hours.
That's it. Let's go. Adios.
Time for night. Jared should be out running dogs. So All righty. Till next Wednesday.
See you in a week.
See you in a week.
Yep.
Jeremy, have fun.
I'm gonna try it.
All righty. Adios, amigos.
Well,